enhancing robotic process automation with AI. I'm Tonya Hall, and joining me is Seth Siegel, Managing Partner, North American AI Automation and Consulting at Infosys. Welcome, Seth.
Welcome, Tonya. Thank you very much for having me today.
Absolutely. Welcome back, I should say. For those of you who have not seen you on our show before, what is Infosys and known for?
We're known as being the world's leading provider of technology services and consulting with over 250,000 employees globally. And most importantly, in this current time of COVID, what we're most proud about is that we had over 95% of our employees and associates working remotely in under a week. And so we are the case study around how to rapidly mobilize a workforce to be able to handle any global issue.
You've been spending a lot of time on intelligent automation. Define that term for us.
So intelligent automation is the next generation of what was robotic process automation. Robotic process automation, or RPA, started to pop up around 4 years ago. So the easiest way to understand what robotic process automation, it's the digitization of simplistic processes, document ingestion, paying an invoice, reviewing an invoice. The example I like to use is that old carnival toy of the chicken that had water in it that would go up and down, that would hit a key. If you can do that with a key, you can use a repeatable process. And that's what RPA at its very heart is. But what we realized about RPA is that it has some very fundamental problems. If you change the systems that your documents or your information is flowing between, you have to go redo what we refer to as your robots or your bots. Those have to get redone. It wasn't particularly intelligent. It did a single task. Everything was a 0 or a 1. It did something that was very simplistic. And it didn't really learn. It only did exactly what you did, or were told it to do. To use another analogy, it was like the Robbie the robot from Nintendo when it first came out. It took a disc from the left, it moved it to the right, and that was success. What intelligent automation is, it's about moving away from just machine to machine information and actually moving data from machine to people and making processes become more dynamic. So it's not just about ingesting a document, it's about running analysis and using natural language processing to pick up anomalies and then being able to take those anomalies and do something with them.
How will RPA and intelligent automation converge to create even more powerful tool? And how is this happening today?
The thing that's fascinating about the tooling in this set is it's all very, very new. The 3 largest providers, software providers, didn't exist 4 years ago. And yet each one of them has multi-billion-dollar valuations today. So we're at the very early stages of being able to automate very basic functions inside of companies. But more importantly, as things become more intelligent, we're able to handle very dynamic and complicated things that we couldn't previously. So how do you, for instance, take a robotic investor advisor, which a lot of financial institutions are now moving to be able to give low-cost advice to the mass affluent, and be able to give even more intelligence and more information into that customer base? How do you use natural language processing as part of your document ingestion processes that you're now handling through some very basic robots, and be able to say, like, hey, I'm noticing an anomaly in this document. I believe based upon current regulations, I may have exposure. These are things that you can now do in an intelligent fashion that you just frankly couldn't even do as recently as a year ago. So the technology landscaping is rapidly evolving. Now, we've talked a little bit about where we see the bots of the world. But then there's also an exploding field around process mapping. So whether it's companies like Celonis, our own product set in AssistEdge, these are cutting edge things that are looking at how people interact and how processes interact to be able to give you better maps of information so you can understand your data flows in very different ways. How can you modify data flows? How can you improve where information is flowing and what people are doing them? So it's all about leveraging technology in very different ways, keeping in mind we are still at the very early stages of what will be a transformative journey inside of all of operations and technology.
Is the AI used in these systems still narrow, or are we learning enough to broaden the data set to handle more out of the box kinds of situations?
It, we're learning very quickly when in the machine learning space. What we're learning very quickly are faster error detection and anomaly detection. We're learning very quickly how to then take that information, feed that over to, for instance, actuarial models if you're in the insurance space, and be able to run different sorts of analytics on those models. We're able to do if you're in the oil and gas space. So when you start to notice that there are issues, for instance, with say a supplier, and all of a sudden you can do a new supplier risk analysis via dynamically learning models. We're seeing significant reuse of machine learning as well as AI techniques in making more intelligence in these data models that existed previously. And so it's how do you take these robots that you've built, these digital robots, if you would, and have them be able to not just do A and B, but be able to derive net new information. It's about leveraging cognitive agents, if you would. And those cognitive agents are responsible for informing people, frankly, at the end of the chain to be able to say, hey, we're noticing an anomaly. We're noticing an issue. There's something that we want you to take action on. There was something that we want you to inform.
What's the most important thing for companies to do differently to be intelligently automated?
The important thing is this is a rapidly evolving technology space. And as technologists, as consultants, as futurists, we always want to anchor on a very specific technology set. What we're telling our clients is to anchor on the concept of intelligent automation, have a very strong center of excellence or a hub, whichever term you like, that is really understanding what is your goals, what are you trying to do, figure out the basic processes that you have that you're trying to transform, and spend a lot of time thinking about if only I had this piece of information, the types of decisions I would make. So you don't want to get over anchored on a specific technology because it is such a rapidly evolving space, but you do want to have very strong and documented approaches and thought processes around how does my use case design change? How does my what I'm going to actually go do with this data change? What are the problems that you've always been trying to solve that you couldn't because of data access or because of information that you didn't even know that, frankly, that you needed? So by focusing on the processes and how you're going to do things, we believe that's a setup for longer term success than the short term technology. Keep in mind, most technology, even today, you are expected to own this technology from anywhere from 3 to 5 years. If we went back 5 years, none of this technology existed. So the technology that we have today is just different, better, and just really better than it was 4 years ago when it first started. What will it be 4 years from now? It will be dramatically different than we have right now.
Seth Siegel, Managing Partner, North American AI Automation and Consulting at Infosys. If somebody wants to connect with you, Seth, find out more about this, how can they do that?
Easiest way is to email me at seth.siegel@infosys.com, seth.siegel@infosys.com.
Thanks again. And find more of my interviews right here or go to tonyahall.net. Thanks for watching.